Welcome everyone, and let's prep some models for priming. Great thanks to Pile of Shame Productions for constructive feedback on the audio. I want to go through all of them to show all of you how I deal with different types of materials. Please share, like and comment on how you prep models. It would be nice to get other people's perspectives, and then I can do a part 2 where I test your ideas. The models that we have starting from the left are Resin Asterat, a generic plastic marine in the middle, and a metal iron warrior's warsmith on the right. Alright, so let's prep. Let our good friend Commando Arnie show us how. Jesus Christ, I love this movie. Today I will use clippers, a hobby knife, super glue, gorilla glue, super cheap synthetic brushes, a wooden pick, milliput, aka extra thin citrus cement, a small metal container, a wow stick, some sanding blocks, and isopropyl alcohol, and of course gloves and water. Let's start with the metal warsmith. I want to talk a little bit about this one because very often I buy second-hand metal minis, I have a soft spot for them, and very often they are not cleaned properly. There's a lot of extra metal pieces that need to be removed. What I do is I just take a hobby knife and clippers and cut them off, I mean the metal pieces. Be careful because there are a lot of small ones that are not visible but can ruin your model when they fall off after the painting process has started. Now this is all the metal that I have taken off in just one session, and I am more than sure that I missed a lot of the spots. Metal models like plastic or resin need to be scraped and sanded down because they have a lot of imperfections and mold lines. Remember to do it. Always test fit the parts before gluing them. It helps. Now I would like to show you all how I put them together. Metal bits are heavier and therefore are harder to stick. Pinning solves the problem. When the two parts perfectly fit, I take black paint and pour it somewhere other than on my wet palette. It is important for the paint to be as thick as possible. Then I take a well-pointed brush and leave a thick point on the place where I want the pin to fit. Afterwards, just stick the two parts together and you will get a matching point on the second part, and you can drill it perfectly to fit the pin. Leave the black paint to dry and drill the marked spots. I use a wow stick for this. It's a perfect small miniature heavy torque slow drill. A hand drill does the job as well. When the pinholes are drilled, I additionally take the hobby knife and scrape small lines for the glue to have extra stick points. It helps with adhesion. For metal you can use any kind of super glue. I use Gorilla Glue because it's rock hard and sticks perfectly. As the lid is glued, I have to unscrew the lid and put some of the glue on paper or plastic and then move it with a wooden stick. Nevertheless, the result is the same. And now this is the finished metal model. I had to pin both of the arms. There are still visible imperfections, but we will deal with them later using Milliput. In the meantime, let us move to the resin model, but first I need to express my opinion on the resin model itself. I do not like resin models because very often the resin parts are warped really badly and there are a lot of imperfections on the models themselves. The casts are like from a horror story. I know that there are a lot of good models, but I just never had lots of luck with them. I found a really nice video on how to deal with warped resin elements on the Leaky Cheese channel. The link to his video will be in the description. Please give him a view and subscribe to his channel. When clipping the models of the sprue, try to do it delicately. There is a possibility that some small parts will break and then attaching them can be a problem. Use the clippers as far away from the models as you can. It helps further down the road because you have a visible mold line and know where to use your hobby knife. Afterwards it's just cleaning and sanding till you get a smooth finish. Plastic glue does not work on resin models. I know I have tried. I used super glue and here I made a big mistake, but it's fine and maybe this will help somebody in the future. My super glue got clogged and I removed the excess hard part with my hobby knife. I didn't realize that there's still a lot of dried glue in the funnel and squeezed too hard. A big blob of super glue poured onto the part. If something like this will happen, do not panic. Just take a piece of paper and soak as much of the glue as you can. Put the parts together and after the glue is dry, you can use your sandpaper and remove the glue. Additionally, when you get some spots that have small contact areas, you can take some of your super glue and put it with anything that has a sharp tip onto the holes. I use a hobby knife for that. And this is the glued model. Looks pretty good. I have to confess that it looks damn good. I will have a lot of fun with painting it. Alright, the plastic mini then. We do the same as with the resin mini. Clip the parts out of the sprue. As in the resin mini, it is better to clip as far away from the model as possible. I have some experience with plastic models, believe me. After clipping the model out of the sprue, you just need to use your hobby knife and sandpaper to get rid of all of the additional plastic on the model, connection points and mold lines included. Bonus tip. I have a tendency to move the hobby knife downwards, and very often I get cut on my fingers because of that. The tip here is I get some medical plaster or even a piece of tape and put it on a place where your hobby knife can land. This way you avoid cuts. I should have put the plaster a bit higher, but it's okay. When drilling, I always make a small hole with my hobby knife. I definitely didn't make it perfectly centered, but you understand how it should work. When you have such a hole, it is easier to drill in the perfect spot. For the plastic minis, I use thin cement. I picked this specific one because it has a lemon smell. It is not perfect, but definitely a lot better than the regular ones. Test fit the parts and then put a lot of the glue on the connection points and stick both of the parts together. The glue should grab immediately. After gluing the minis, leave them for a few hours to rest. The glue will melt the parts together perfectly. If you have some irregularities or visible space between the parts, you can put the glue on top of this. It will reduce the visible imperfections. This is a push-fit model and a very easy one to build. When gluing a model that has a lot of pieces, always use the manual. Very often I clip two parts, clean them, glue them together, and then move to the next part. Right, now the fun part. I have got this idea from Marco Frizzoni. A link to his channel will be in the video description. This is my first time with milliput, but it came out more or less okay. Always use a glove when in contact with it. Cut a small part of both pieces and mix them together. Use more water on the gloves than I did. Now roll the milliput and make a small hole in the middle, then pour some isopropyl on the hole and mix until you get a watery substance. Use an old or cheap brush to place the mixture into the holes or imperfections your model has. After it is dry, just sand it down or remove delicately with your hobby knife and the model is ready for priming. Now those are the three models we have prepared today. They just need a little bit of sanding and they will be ready for painting. Please remember that I am not a pro, just a big fan of the modeling hobby, and I would really appreciate if you would comment and share your knowledge with me. Help me get better and I will give you a much better content. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe and see you in the next video.